It's now an additionally great pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker. The ideal Cushing girl for the class of 2006, Meghan Duggan. It's going to keep going, isn't it? I want to warmly welcome Meghan's parents, Mary and Bob Duggan, who are with us today. It is no exaggeration to say that Meghan has captured the hearts of all who have watched her play ice hockey on the international stage. As 2014 Olympic team captain and Olympic silver medalist in 2010 and 14, as well as a medalist in other world championships, her leadership, determination, and poise have earned her the respect and admiration of all. I speak for the entire Cushing family when I say, without boasting, we knew all this about Meghan well before the rest of the world did. Meghan's leadership shined early on when she was elected president of her freshman class here, an honor that would continue each year. She sought and achieved excellence in the classroom and in every endeavor. In her freshman year, she was awarded the Class of 1888 prize for the highest academic average in her class. For 3 years in a row, she received the Betty Davis Award for her class, honoring her outstanding contributions in 3 seasons of competitive athletics. Meghan's contributions to our community were far-reaching, and it is telling that I have mentioned just some of the awards she earned. After graduation, Meghan joined best friend and class of 2005 alumna Erica Lawler at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where they helped bring home multiple Division I national championships for the Badgers. Following their achievements at the 2010 Olympics, we bestowed upon Erica and Meghan the truly deserved Cushing Academy Leadership Award. Meghan is also a recipient of the Patty Katzmeyer Award, which recognizes the top player in NCAA Division I women's ice hockey. Meghan has played for 2 seasons with the Boston Blades. Having earned a degree in biology from Wisconsin, she has expressed interest when her hockey career is completed in becoming a pediatrician, right? How lucky would those patients be? But we just had a conversation in my office about the next steps for her and all of the amazing things she's accomplished, experienced, and just really the world is wide open. So many doors open to her. And I came away, this was my first conversation with her, absolutely amazed and knowing that whatever she chooses, she's going to be exceptional at it. Had there been an opportunity for faculty members to join us in this introduction, there would have been countless wonderful stories, right? The many hugs she gave back to faculty today as we walked campus getting ready to enter the tent. I can sum up the esteem and affection in which the faculty hold for Meghan by quoting the college recommendation Dr. Carlisle wrote on her behalf. Meghan's determination and dedication to all she is involved with are evident at every level. She is a fierce and staunch friend. She has a bottomless reservoir of energy and enthusiasm, and her laughter is delightfully infectious. Join me in welcoming Cushing Class of 2006, Meghan Duggan.
I do just want to point out that to all the New York Yankees fans in here, Headmaster Torino actually got me back for my joke on the Red Sox pitcher when I went out there on the mound and threw out the first pitch. I walked in his office this morning and he had a photoshopped picture of me throwing out the first pitch on the mound at Fenway, only I was in a Yankees jersey. So, and I followed up by signing it for him and I wrote, "Go Yankees?" ? So, anyways. Students, faculty and staff, trustees, parents, relatives, friends, and everyone else lucky enough to be here today, good morning and congratulations to the class of 2014. Headmaster Torino contacted me back in January and asked me to give today's commencement address. Seeing as I proudly tell everyone I come in contact with that this place changed my life, I could not have been more honored by this invitation. I want to thank him and all of Cushing for asking me to be here, celebrating such an important milestone in the lives of all you seniors. Of course, I initially thought to myself, what are those high school students going to want to hear from me? Being a 4-year senior myself, I sat through 4 underclass award ceremonies and 4 graduations here under this very same tent on the Common. I would like to consider myself a very attentive individual when it comes to events such as this, but as most of you probably are right now, I made sure I was sitting next to or around my closest friends for whispering purposes. With that being said, I also know that some of you underclassmen are sitting here thinking about how the seniors get to leave today and you all still have exams next week. And some of you seniors might be daydreaming about throwing jeans on and lighting a celebratory cigar on campus without Mr. Connors or Mr. Muchachi reprimanding you. Or maybe all of you students are trying to figure out how and when you can snap your next selfie. So again, what do you as students want to hear from me? Standing up here today, I'm not a founder and CEO of a major company. I'm not an author of a best-selling novel or a host of a TV show. I'm not a doctor or a lawyer, and I haven't yet come up with that billion-dollar idea that will change the world. Yet. Technically, right now, I play ice hockey for a living. I did, however, sit right where you are sitting only 8 years ago. In September of '02, I packed up my parents' car in Danvers and I drove here with my mom and dad out to Ashburnham. I was so nervous I could barely speak or breathe. I'm not kidding when I tell you I was probably more nervous that day than I have been to play for any of the gold medals I've ever played for in my hockey career. I'm not sure if my nerves were coming from the obvious, moving away to boarding school when I was only 14, or from thinking about running Coach Horgan's timed mile during soccer preseason. When we pulled onto campus, we made it just about to Low Hall, and I told my dad urgently that he needed to stop the car. I immediately opened the back seat, and I threw up all over the sidewalk. Quite the first impression I made, I think. Instantly, my parents thought they were making a huge mistake. I had always been an independent kid, but maybe this time around, it was just going to be too much for me. Over the next few days, being exhausted from preseason, anxious about who my roommate would be, and having my room phone shut off every night at 8 was not a great combination for me. And you're probably all laughing, thinking, why didn't I just pull my cell phone and text under the desk at study hall or something like that? I can't actually imagine how the teachers and the proctors monitor study hall. Hats off to you guys. But no, my room phone and the internet shut off. Anyways, about a week into classes starting that year, I called my parents and I told them I was going to run for freshman class president. My mom has since told me that as soon as I made that phone call, she knew I was going to be just fine. And so it began. In the 4 years to follow, I raced to the top of Mount Monadnock 4 times on Mountain Day. I dressed up one day only in clothes from the Give and Take boxes in Alumni and Sawyer. I kissed an upperclassman hockey guy at the Halloween dance in the gym. I cried in Suze's office when I couldn't meet a deadline for one of her papers assigned. I sang Seasons of Love and other songs in the winter chorus concert with Miss Pressman, now Miss Leftcourt. I remember being emotional every year during the end of the year all-school handshake, saying bye to all my favorite seniors. I snuck out of my room countless times after lights out, only to be caught and sent back by Miss Reynoso. I volunteered for Dana-Farber at the Boston Marathon and in lots of different locations for Tony Fisher Day. I captured a couple E.G. Watkins championships with Coach Kennedy and the hockey team and was part of an undefeated lacrosse season in 2006 under the direction of Miss Roller and Miss Devon. I launched rockets in Mr. Kubblebeck's physics class and dissected cats in Mr. Wenning's AP Anatomy and Physiology class. I dove headfirst down the hockey hill in the mud in my purple and grays when it was pouring rain out one spring afternoon. I sword fought Dr. Carey as part of my Lord of the Rings class final exam. And I stole an entire tray of cookies from the dining hall one time and brought them to the dorm with my notorious partners in crime. In my 4 years at Cushing, I met people and had experiences that changed my life. I grew tremendously as a kid and learned a little bit more about who I was, but also who I wanted to be. In the 8 years since I graduated from here, I have certainly learned a lot more about myself, and I credit my time at Cushing for much of that growth. It's almost hard for you all to see it now, but the values instilled in you by Cushing and the experiences you've had here have prepared you for the many challenges that lie ahead. And trust me when I say the challenges will come. No one's road to success is easy. If you ever do meet that person to whom fame, fortune, success, and glory all come easy, you probably won't like that person very much. You're all about to embark on a new journey in your life, and I'm sure many of you have aspirations to be incredible at whatever it is that you choose, and you will be. I'm here to share with you and remind you that it's okay during that journey to be uncomfortable, to hit rock bottom, or to fail. Nearly all of the people you see on TV, or the ones you hear about and deem successful, have lived through the dark days at one point along their journey. What has made them successful is how they chose to respond to those dark days. A great teacher here at Cushing once told a group of us, sometimes you need to take one step back before you can take 2 steps forward. I always kept his words in mind, but I never really understood them until I lived through the dark days, literally. In the fall of 2011, my hockey career seemed to be on the rise. I had won 3 national championships and the Patty Kazmaier Award at Wisconsin, 3 world championships with Team USA, and captured a silver medal at my first Olympic Games in Vancouver. I was finishing up my degree in Madison and training full-time for the 2014 Olympics in Sochi. And by full-time, I mean multiple times a day, 7 days a week, without ever taking a single day completely off for 4 straight months. I was obsessed. Obsessed with hockey. Everything I did, everything I ate, all of my interactions and conversations were filled in with the next time I could get my training in. I thought back then that I was putting myself in a position to be everything I wanted to be. The best athlete, the most fit, the fastest, the strongest. I had a lot to learn. With the mindset I had at that point, nothing could have been worse than being 100% sidelined from hockey and training with an injury that no one could see, no one could explain, and no one could provide a timeline for. Of course, that's exactly what happened. I suffered a major blow to the back of the head in a training camp around Christmas time that year. I had had quite a few minor concussions in my college career, but nothing like this. It took my feet right out from under me. I was miserable. I moved back into my parents' house, and I lived in a dark room for the first 4 months of the injury. I had migraines. I couldn't sleep. I could barely eat. I didn't leave the house. I barely talked to anyone except my parents because interactions with others were too difficult for my brain to engage in. I was nauseous, anxious, depressed, angry, and the list goes on and on. The symptoms and irritability continued for another 8 to 9 months, over a year in total. People began to ask me, does it scare you that you think you may never play again, Megs? And my initial thought was, of course it does. But it scares me more that I feel like I may never have my life back. This was my rock bottom. For 13 months, I struggled. For 13 months, I was uncomfortable. For 13 months, I thought to myself, why is this happening and when is it going to be over? Sometimes you need to take 1 step back before you can take 2 steps forward. Those 13 months taught me more about myself than I had ever known before. I was struggling to the point where I felt like I wanted to give up on everything, but I didn't. I wrapped my head around the fact that I was probably stopped dead in my tracks by this injury so that I could learn something. And once I opened my mind, eyes, and ears to the world and what I was supposed to learn, it gave me hope. I learned 3 major things through this challenge that I want to share with you, and I want you guys to take with you as you move forward from today. The first one, be mindful of where you are in any given minute. I was on the fast track to my own hockey success. I forgot to be present. If you're constantly in a rush, there is a very good chance you're going to miss out on something that is in the now. You don't always have to know exactly where you are going or what the next step is. Don't be afraid to listen to yourself sometimes when your mind tells you you are exactly where you need to be right now. The second one, take action and knock on doors, but be patient when you need to be. I have never in my life been the most patient person, nor will I ever be. But I would like to consider myself to be growing towards having more patience. When I was first injured, there wasn't a friend, family member, doctor, mentor, or coach who I listened to when they told me to slow down and just be patient. I came to realize that my lack of patience at that time wasn't making anything better. My advice to you is go after what you want. Train, work hard, study, knock on doors. But when those compromising moments do come, and it is in your best interest to be patient, be patient. The third one, the people you are surrounded by every single day, no matter what you do, matter. I would consider myself a people person, and before my injury, I got so caught up in my own passions and my own training that I wasn't paying attention to what other people in my life were passionate about. As you move on from Cushing, you're going to meet so many more people of different ages, races, backgrounds, and people with aspirations that are far different than yours. I challenge you to listen to them and let yourself be inspired by what they are passionate about. I recovered fully from my injury in January of 2013 and led my team that April to a World Championship gold medal. Soon after, I was chosen to lead the team as our captain at this most recent Olympic Games in Russia. Hitting rock bottom and learning what I needed to learn about myself made me a better person, a better teammate, a more coachable athlete, and a more successful leader. To all of you graduating seniors, whose names have already been engraved in the bricks lining the walkway to the main building, congratulations. You guys are joining a world-class group of Cushing alumni, if I do say so myself, and you are entering a new and exciting chapter in your life. College is tough, and sometimes life just isn't fair. Hard situations surface, and disappointment stings. When you are faced with a challenge and you want to give up, open your mind, eyes, and ears. Let yourself learn from that challenge, and you'll get through it, and you'll be even better on the other side. Thank you again for allowing me to be part of this very special day within the Cushing community, and congratulations to the class of 2014.